What's up, everybody?
Hello,
all right.
We're back.
We're back. It's been a little while. We have been on vacation.
Yeah, so if we're rusty tonight, hey, where's our drinks from vacation? We
have excuse.
We're back to reality.
We have an excuse.
Working out, no more alcohol, no more staying up late.
It's been rough getting back.
No more
into the swing of
eating
things.
like buffet style every day, 5 times a day.
I definitely ate my fill. You can probably tell on the camera here.
Can't.
So what are we talking about tonight? We're back, and we figured that why not start with what everybody's talking about, because there's a lot of talk about national headlines. Is the Myrtle Beach housing market crashing? You know, what's going on in all areas of the country, but here in Myrtle Beach, you know, some say slowdown, and that's just not the case. And so we're going to look at some data, and we're going to talk about statistics, what's going on here in the Myrtle Beach market, compare year over year, quarter over quarter statistics, and we're going to make sure that if you have any questions, you can get them answered. So that's what we're going to go over tonight. And there's a lot in the news lately that has to do with this. We're not going to go into some of it, but we will probably in the future weeks as things pan out. But yeah.
Well, I think sometimes in the news they create hypes or they generalize over the country, which you can't really do, because what they say on the Today Show or Fox News or whoever you listen to about what's going on might not be the same in your local market, or definitely not here in the Grand Strand. So you have to take that kind of with a fine, with a little bit of understanding that different markets are seeing different real estate markets, right?
Yeah, they're not telling the micro story.
Yeah.
And that's really what real estate is. We've said this before on the podcast, but real estate is not, it's micro, it's city by city. And even in some cities, it is neighborhood by neighborhood.
That's for sure. Even here, it's like oceanfront versus off oceanfront, or what part of town you're in. So definitely, we see that. We do our market update every month, and it's very clear that even our market has micro markets.
Well, and that's the important piece. I think that if you're going to take anything away from tonight, I'll say it now, I'll probably say it again at the end, it's that you need to know the research, you need to know the data that is specific to your market. You're going to hear these headlines nationally. It could be any headline, but it means something totally different when it gets down to you in your local market in most cases.
Yeah.
In most cases. So,
I mean, basically, the big takeaway is, no, we're not crashing. The real estate market is not crashing. Okay, good night.
Yeah.
We are normalizing, and we have been for a few years now.
Yeah.
So, and it's really stayed consistent. Like, there was a big slowdown when the interest rates went up, insurance went up and everything, and everybody felt it. It was very heavy. But really, since then, it's been very consistent for the most part. So.
Well, there's a lot of news out there. You know, you've got the Fed chair coming out and making statements. But to have a big housing crash, and I'm not predicting the future. That's not what we do. We're just talking about what's coming or what's here. And, you know, there are things that could happen that could, you know, change things in the world and the economy. But you need a lot of distressed sellers to have a market crash. And we don't have that.
Yeah.
People have record equity. They have historically low interest rates. We don't have those situations. Now, could something else happen that causes some of that other stuff? Maybe, but there's nothing that points to
there's no way to predict that. So you can't, as people say, when's the right time to buy? It's when you're ready to buy. So there's no telling. You cannot predict. You could wait a month and you're like, man, I missed out because prices just started going up again. And that's what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're like COVID crazy. And then housing prices just every month were like flying up. Like homes were not appraising because they were going up so fast in value. It was insane. So all those buyers that were waiting at that point really got left in the dust. And now some buyers have been saying, oh, I'm going to wait for the crash.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you might get left behind if you're waiting for the crash that never happens. Of course, like you said, we can't predict if it's if one could happen because of
Yeah.
crazy circumstances. But, you know, you would have thought COVID might have caused a crash, but then it caused the most crazy real estate boom we've seen in so many decades. It was crazy. But I think the problem is people are comparing. We're so short-sighted sometimes where we have short-term memories. And we're comparing the real estate market to 21 to 23, 2021 to 2023, which was like the craziest hype market that we have seen in so long. And that's not normal. So when we came down from that, we're now actually at a normal market, but everybody feels like we're crashing because compared to that couple year period, it was a big change.
Well, I saw a statistic on what each state made in home sale appreciation from 2021 to 2026. Did you know we were probably third on the list out of all the states?
Yeah, what you said was crazy.
58% or 52%. There was some that were a little higher, like I think it was Connecticut, New Hampshire, maybe Maine, Vermont. That was it. Those four. After that, we were next. So we had the most appreciation of any state. But the point is, when you have record appreciation like that and then things slow, it feels like a creep. But you made a gigantic leap in a couple years. And a normal market should be 4 to 6% a year.
Well, people are like, I'm not making 10 grand more every single month, you know, on my property. So no, it's just normal. And that was a crazy time. And people asked me when the market slowed down, oh my gosh, are you like, this is terrible? I'm like, no, it's good actually, because it was too crazy. It was too crazy. Like if we didn't get out there and make an offer in the first hour, your buyer wasn't going to get the house. We had to advise buyers to do all kinds of things we would never advise them to do just if they wanted to get the house. And if you were FHA, VA, you weren't going to get the house probably. So there was, it was a really hard market for a lot of people, even though it's known as like this great market for sellers, I suppose, but all sellers, where are they going to go? They have to buy something.
Sure.
And I talk about that to our clients. They would say, hey, I'm thinking about making the money and selling my home and I can make all this money from this market. And I'm like, okay, but where are you going to go?
Sure.
Because now you're going to pay the higher prices anyway.
Yeah. And some states actually, they just started to have a little bit of a slowdown, but they've been like that till this month.
Yeah.
That's been going on. You know, a home comes on the market, everybody's bidding, over ask, waiving inspections, all this nonsense. That's still going on in some places that don't have any inventory, but now it's finally started to catch up to those places even too. But we're in, that doesn't mean that it's a bad market.
Well, I think the market you're just describing is not a good market.
Yeah.
It's not a good market when buyers are having to go and emotionally make offers because they have to make a decision so fast and there's all these bids and
not give themselves a fair shot when they have to waive inspections and that kind of stuff.
That's not right. You get yourself into something maybe that you could have avoided. So it's really not, that was not normal. So I think this is not a crash. It's normalized and we're back to where we should be. And, you know, buyers can take their time and they have more homes available to look at and decide between. And you can have inspections and do normal repairs and all of that stuff that is in a normal market. And for sellers, it's really not bad. You just have to price it correctly. You have to do the right things when you list it to have your home showing nice, because there's still homes in town that sell as soon as they hit the market. And then there's some that stay on the market. So it really is sellers. You just have to pay more attention to what you're doing when you're listing your home, but it's still not a terrible market. So.
Agreed. Should we share some data?
Yeah, sure.
With everybody
Frank, you know, Frank loves his data that he loves to share from your little paper. Go ahead, Frankie. Read your little paper.
Wow. Okay. Do you have something before you got in here? Well, I think it's important to talk about. So if you look at just closed sales from Q1 2025 to Q1 2026, in 2025, we had 130, and Q1 2026 was 137.
Okay.
So we're up basically 5.4%.
Okay.
We're doing better.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a ton better, but we're still like, it's, and again, that seems very consistent.
More homes sold this January through March than the same period last year.
Yeah. So I think it's it's again normalized. It's becoming more of a consistent market, which that just proves that.
Median price dipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a terrible thing.
But also
It's only 2.3%.
Median price, though, is literally the middle price. There's
right.
a lot of homes that sold more than that and a lot of homes that sold less than that. So that doesn't necessarily say that every home is selling for less.
Correct.
Or every segment is. So
that's right.
You kind of have to take that with a grain of salt, too, I would say.
That's right. And what it could mean that it's more affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it means. I mean, really, it's the same.
I think things are more affordable for buyers now. And also because things have leveled out also for like insurance costs around town. That has started to level out. So
yes,
it was like
finally
crazy madness. And then now, people can breathe a little more.
More negotiating room, less rushed decisions.
Yeah.
So I think that's all good stuff. There's nothing wrong with where we're at right now.
And some people might say, that's great for buyers. But if you're a seller, then this market is terrible.
I mean, I think people are saying that, though, because they're just sitting longer.
Right.
But I hate the word sitting, because then when I hear sitting, I think long.
Sure, yeah.
So I was talking to someone this week, a couple people, actually, agents, and I was asking them, like, what's average days on market in your market? What's average days? And, someone got on there like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It's so slow, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, wow, really? Okay. Tell me, how long are homes taking to sell? Average days on market, 45. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
45 days on market?
Yeah.
You remember in, what was it? 2014, 15,
gosh.
13? It was like 9-month listing agreements.
At least 9 to 12 months. We wouldn't sign anything less than 12 months.
Yeah.
It was
9 months to sell a home. We're talking 45 days.
Yeah, and nobody would take a contingency because you could be taking a contingency that lasted that long. It was crazy.
I mean, what are we talking about? So,
but again, a lot of people don't remember or they forget about where we've been. It's kind of like interest rates. When you show the chart of interest rates over the past 50 years, our interest rates actually are not really bad right now. But we all just got so spoiled by the 3% time period and thinking that that is normal. So again, that wasn't normal. The real estate market we had from 21 to 23 wasn't normal. This is what a normal market looks like.
Yeah. For
interest rates and for home sales. And so it's actually, I would go, instead of saying normal, I would say healthy, a healthy real estate market.
For sure. I agree. Inventory.
Okay.
Is up. How scary is that?
Yeah.
37% year over year.
I mean, inventory is up for sure. And we felt it in certain segments specifically. That's overall. It's not like it's broken out. So I think inventory is lower. If you watched our last market update, some segments saw a big drop in inventory and some still saw a gain. So,
but if you're a seller, okay, so let's break it down. There's more inventory. What does that mean if you're a buyer?
And what does inventory mean? Like that's our lingo, but
so inventory means there's more homes on the market.
Yeah.
So when there's no inventory, that means there's no homes on the market. When there's a lot of inventory, there's a lot of homes on the market.
Sure.
It's perspective, right? So are you comparing it to when there was nothing? Are you comparing it to yesterday? Yeah. Are you comparing it to there's a healthy amount, you use healthy, there's a healthy amount of inventory on the market. If you're a buyer, that's a good thing, because now you don't have to worry about 50 people every time bidding against you on the same home, paying over ask.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So there's more inventory. You have time. You can take a breath. Doesn't mean you can wait forever, but there's a home. There's more than one home for you to look at and say, this is my home. And then you make an offer.
Yeah.
And okay. So what does that mean for a seller?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Sellers have to pay more attention to what they're doing and be more, I think, specific about what is the inventory in my area, in my neighborhood doing, and how does my house compare, and what can I do to make my house stand out? Should I list it as is, or is there some things maybe I should do? Like before Frank and I listed our house, we went through and we're like, these are the problems, and we all live with it. there's always things in our house that we are like, oh, we'll get to it. But when you go to sell, you need to just do it. So we power washed it. We had all these things done, deep cleaned by professional cleaners. We had the handyman come and touch up a few paint spots and got it super ready. We decluttered it, moved some stuff into storage. So we did all the things that you need to do to make your house look appealing to sell. And we got our first offer within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So there's also in our neighborhood homes sitting for 6 to 9 months.
Yep.
In the same neighborhood. So again, that goes to show as a seller, you can't just haphazardly list your home in a market like this. You have to really be intentional about your pricing strategy and then how you're presenting your home on the market to people. And pictures matter. All of the things that your agent does matter, how they're going to get it out there as well. But I think during the 21 to 23, they were like, I don't even care if we get pictures with the cell phone because it's going to sell and 50 buyers are going to come and make offers in 2 minutes and I'm not going to fix anything.
Wait, you don't take pictures with a cell phone?
Yeah. No.
I agree.
So I don't think it's a bad thing for sellers. They just have to spend a little more time in being more intentional.
Yeah. I would say it like you said it, everything you said, but in my way, which is stop messing around. Stop screwing around. Like if you're going to sell your house, sell it. Don't not declutter, not do the things you need to do, put your home in the market. Don't listen to your agent, list it really high, wonder why it's not selling, annoy the heck out of everybody because you want to get the price you want to get and no one cares. The market will tell you what it should sell for. Yeah. That's the bottom line. So buyers have to be realistic. So do sellers. Yeah. So sellers, it's not some pie in the sky number or what you owe. Yeah. What you owe, no one cares about. So it's here's what we're willing to pay for the house. And the buyers have to say, well, I'm going to renegotiate an inspection and try and get a bunch of money. That's not what it's about. Yeah. It has to be works for both sides. And when usually it's one party that's not being realistic, when they come in and they're like, oh, we got our home inspection report. We want $30,000 off the house for these 5 items, which is a joke, or sometimes depending on the home, but that's happening a lot too. So,
well, I have buyers wanting to put in crazy lowball offers. And I'm like, I don't know what market you think this is, but this is not that kind of market that you can go in and get $50,000 off a $350,000 house. Like, and you're just going, and so many times the buyers decide, I'm like, you don't want to go in like that. Let's go in with a number that the seller might actually accept or counter, and you'll end up where you need to be. They don't listen. They want to go in at their offer, and the seller doesn't even counter, doesn't even respond. Yeah. And I'm like, I told you, but then you're starting off the negotiation on a bad foot where the seller's feeling disgruntled about this buyer and doesn't necessarily want to work with you.
I think it's important though to distinguish between, because there is part of this market out there right now, and they're in South Carolina, every state, every city, there are homes that you can go in, and this is a strategy. Right. I get it. Like there are investors that are like, hey, I want to go in and I want to lowball until I get one. I'll put in 100 offers.
Because they don't care. Yeah.
And that's fine.
They're not emotionally attached.
You can do that. And there are homes that maybe you'll get, and then you're going to need a lot of work on it. Or you find that distressed seller. Are they out there? Absolutely. But on most cases, that's not what you're going to find in this market here. That's right. But it depends on where you're at. But there are a lot of markets that are struggling, and there is a lot of inventory, and they are sitting. And so it depends on where you're at. But I understand that strategy. You're talking more about investment property and that kind of thing. But you have to take that into consideration.
On the normal homes. I mean, yes, it goes the same way with sellers. If a seller is extremely overpriced and a buyer understands that, they're going out and looking at all your competition. They're the ones telling you, hey, I saw 10 homes like yours and yours is not cutting it.
Yeah.
In that case, you might be extremely overpriced, and then a low offer might be warranted. But just overall, the buyers that just think that it's because it's a crashed market that they can go in and get this great deal. I'm like, it's not that market though.
Yeah. And there's other things to consider too. But the other piece that I think is important to understand is, because there's people right now that are buying a home that are watching us. Sure. There's people that are selling a home that are going to watch. About it. Yeah. Or they're thinking about it. Exactly. And the bottom line is, probably rates aren't going to change drastically. They're not going to change. They're going to be in the 6s most of the year. Now, I'm not making a prediction. I'm going off of information that we know to be true. Now, I will say they could go up or they could go down. They'll be in the 6s, but they could go up or they could go down. And there's a lot of things at play and no one knows for sure. So,
but we are better than we were a couple years ago.
Yes. But we have gone up quite a bit from where we were a couple years ago. So,
well, yes.
Yeah. So, but we're not terrible when you look at historically speaking where rates have been in the past. And I could get deep onto, what happened from 76 to 84 and what rates were and the fact that rates were in the double digits in the 80s and real estate went up. There's a lot of things to talk about. But the point is right now is that rates are in the 6s, probably stay there for a while. So for those of you that are like, I hope that rates go way back down low, maybe in a year or two, but right now they're going to be where they are probably for a while, unless they do something drastic.
They had really stabilized, but they were starting to come down at the beginning of the year. We were seeing them drop and we were very hopeful. I think everybody was that we were getting into the upper 5s and out of the 6 number, which was awesome. Which was really good because we were in like 7, 8, 9 people were getting for a while there. So, but then the war happened out of nowhere and the rates kind of went up because of that. The market got a little nervous and now they've started to stabilize a little, but they're still not where they were heading at the beginning of the year. So I think it's a little disappointing because if you got your hopes up that it is going to go down, but that just shows you can't wait. The only thing you know is what it is today. Something else could happen and cause them to skyrocket again back up to 9%. And you're like, man, I wish I got that 6.25 rate.
That's right.
And then we've had buyers that go with builders and they have a great, excellent buy down program. And you can still get a great rate out there. So if that's really important to you, there are still opportunities to get a great rate. But I know everybody kind of like jokes about the old adage that says, marry the house, date the rate. I know.
I hate it.
But it's true because you can't the house can't change as easily as the rate. You can always refinance.
Sure. If rates go down, you refi, make sure you can afford the payment. But there are also different programs out there. So I'm not an advocate for being super risky, but there are different programs that can help you get into that home and then again, refi or whatever down the road. So you got to think about that. Maybe you buy down, do a 3-2-1 buy down or whatever.
Well, and some, there are the
2-1 buy down.
Right. And there's adjustable rate mortgages that have now come back into play because for quite a while when we were at 3%, why would you do that? You want to lock in the 30-year fix. So really those went out the window, but now we're seeing those again and they can be a really good tool because you're just betting that maybe 3 years from now, interest rates will have gone down or any point in time before that to refinance. But you're starting out with the lower rate, which is nice.
Yes.
And as far as the seller goes, rates aren't just something for buyers to consider. As a seller, if you want your listing to stand out, you could offer closing cost money for the buyer to buy down their rate, which actually helps them more than you coming up with the same money off of the sales price.
Well, the other thing I like about that is it's unique. I haven't seen anybody offering that.
It's so except for the builders because they know they are experts at marketing.
But as a seller, you have that right. You can do that. Incentives is one of the most powerful tools you have.
Yeah.
Besides your home looking like, you got to have the home looking good
and smelling
good and all the things we talk about all the time. But then you have incentives you can use at your disposal.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a great agent, you're not going to hear that story, and then you have to decide to do it.
But you have to
that could separate you.
Show the buyer like, hey, at this price, we can give you $10,000 to buy down your rate to a great rate, and you're only paying this per month, or $10,000 off the price, and you're still paying way higher. It could be a couple hundred to even like 500 more a month. It just depends on the sales price of the house.
Absolutely.
But that's a great tool that sellers can use that same amount of money that might not be that much that they want to give off, but it creates a huge incentive to the buyer and maybe bring in some buyers that couldn't afford their house before. Because I had a buyer that was at a certain budget because they thought based on the 6%, 6.5% rate, they could only afford X amount of house. But when they were offered a 4.99% interest rate by the builder, they jumped up in sales price and they were able to actually get a very nicer home than they were planning to because of that rate. So it can be a huge tool for both buyers and sellers to help each other out.
Yeah.
But not enough people understand that that same lump sum of money can be used in different ways, and you can be creative with it to make the deal work.
I think being creative, it makes sense because it makes you stand out. You know what I mean? And that's one that people really love to see. I feel like the closing cost money.
Yeah.
Because that's straight out of their pocket.
Right. And that affects their monthly payment. And that might be the difference between yours and another house. So just something to think about in some way for you to stand out as a seller, but also something for buyers to request. If you put in an offer, you might consider a full price offer with $10,000 in closing costs that you can use to buy down the rate. And that might help you more than actually getting a lump sum off the price of the house. So you might want to talk to your lender about that if the seller's not offering it up front. So just some words of advice for this balanced market, because back in the day, oh my gosh, if you asked $10,000 in closing costs, the seller would be like, see ya, I've got 10 other offers here. There was no way you could get something like that. Obviously, it was 3% interest rates. We didn't need that back then, but anyway.
So what other things are we seeing that they might want to know about in the Myrtle Beach market as far as what sellers and buyers are doing? Is there anything?
I think obviously we've talked about the different segments of the market. The single family home market is very balanced right now, and even heading a little on the seller market side, not quite, but just balanced. But the condo market is still a buyer's market. So again,
we still sitting in the year
micro markets. Yeah. And we did drop down a little inventory. I know this says year over year we're up, but it's month to month what we're seeing for inventory. And we have seen a trend of the inventory declining, which is good. The market is clearing up a little bit here. But again, those stale listings on the market are usually for a reason. They're overpriced. They don't present well. The seller is just in la la land, like, I'm still in 2023. I don't have to do anything and I can get top dollar, you know? Yeah. And I think that makes it hard and it adds to it. And then, of course, us being a heavily short-term rental second home vacation market, people are strapped for cash these days. And so they might not be investing in a property that's like a beach getaway or a second home right now. So that does, I think, affect that segment of our market here locally more than it would in other areas.
It does. I think it does too. Well, we know it does. So you're definitely going to feel it here, and you're going to see it in the second home category.
But as an investor, now I was just talking to one of my clients today and telling him short-term rentals are the place to be right now, because as an investor, you can get the best deal we've seen in a decade on the oceanfront. And you could, I mean, even the crazy boom here, you couldn't get an oceanfront condo. It was crazy town.
I agree. And that changes the average cost per door for you.
Exactly.
So, you know, if you've been buying condos like we have, you know, and you had no choice. The market was hot. You either buy one or don't. Yeah. You still need the write-offs. You still need the rentals. So you would buy, but now is where you make up for that price that you paid in the hotter markets so that you can lower your overall average price. Yeah. So this is the time to look and try and get a good price.
So again, I think it's all
how you look at
things, because if you're an investor, then right now is a great market, you know, but so it just depends on your frame of
this is
mind.
The other piece of this is work. A lot of people don't want to put in the work. If you want to go, I mean, it's true. If you're going to sell your home, it's a lot of work. You have to do a lot to make it look good. It's a lot of work.
And to keep it up for the showings, it's a lot.
It's a lot of work. If you're a buyer, it's a lot of work. If you're an investor, you have to look at a lot of properties to find that one. It's a lot of work. If you don't want to put in the work, well, we can't help you. No one can help you. Yeah. You got to do the work. And so I think that you got to really just pay attention to
I think that's a big thing that we have been seeing is people being a little wishy-washy about it. Yeah. And buyers backing out more than we've seen in a long time, because I think people are maybe just not there yet. You know, they think they want to do it, but then they don't, and they get scared and they hear all these things on the news. And I think it's just a weird time right now for that. But I think like you said, if you have to decide and make the commitment and say, I will sell, and here's the things I need to do to sell. I will buy, and here's the things I need to do to buy, and here's what I want to buy, and I'm going to find it. So you just have to be very intentional and specific right now about it.
I'd be interested to know if you're watching now, where you're at, if you're thinking about buying or selling in Myrtle Beach, or if you watch this later. I get it. It's uncertainty.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the world. And I think that affects, it distills down. And we've talked about this before too. And I get that. They're like, is this the best time to buy? The problem is all of those deter you from doing maybe what you should do. Not in every case, but in a lot of cases. And so, but if you're not sure and you're like, hey, should I buy in Myrtle Beach? Should I sell a home in Myrtle Beach? Should I invest in Myrtle Beach? If you have an oceanfront property and you need short-term rental management, we have that option as well. So we do a lot of different things. We build. So anything you're looking to do in Myrtle Beach with real estate, let us know and we'll help you. And it may not be the right time for you to do anything, but it also might be the right time. And that can make a big difference over years by making the right decisions now.
And we always tell people, I've told some people, don't sell right now or don't buy right now. And you have too over the years.
Lots.
Not just right now, like over the years.
A lot.
Because it's about being honest and really saying, here's your situation. You explain it to us and we're like, not the best, but we can help you come up with a plan to get you there, you know? So, and sometimes people say, I just don't want to bother you. I don't want to reach out because we're not ready yet. And I'm like, that's fine. You've got to start somewhere in the process and feel like you're getting that game plan together. Otherwise, you're always feeling not ready because you don't know where to start, especially because we have a lot of transplants moving into the area more than people moving around the area. So I think a lot of people come in there, they don't know the area. They don't know how things are or where things are. And it's nerve-wracking until they find somebody that can help direct them and feel good about where they're going and stop being so wishy-washy. So there's never a bad time to start talking about it.
I agree. So I think that at the end of the day, you just got to lean on data. I always say lean on data. If you're not sure, what's the data say? And that's where you get hooked up with a local professional, whether it's whatever it is, you lean on the data because they have access to that and they can help. We can help show you, hey, this is what's taking place.
Well, and like you said, we're talking about generalities, even of the Myrtle Beach market. So let's say you want to buy in a specific place or a specific type of property, then your agent can help you there because it's just so many little micro segments that there's no way it would take us forever to like go through everyone in Myrtle Beach area at the Grand Strand. So it's really important to get somebody you trust to help along the process.
I agree.
I mean, do y'all think if you're out there and you're in Myrtle Beach or you've been trying to buy or sell, do you think that the market is balanced? Do you think it feels crashed to you? Do you feel like it feels like a hype market? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you are hearing. And what do you feel when you see the national statistics? If you're looking at, does that hold you up? Is that the headline? Is that what you look at? Or do you go some website and you look there, like a Zillow or Realtor.com? I'm just curious to know what you do when you're thinking about buying or selling, or if you are, or investing.
And if it was you, would you rather buy when prices are going up and the hype is there and you're like trying to get in, or when the inventory is rising instead of prices and you have more options? Because I think a lot of buyers feel more confident for some reason when it's a hype market, which is kind of the opposite.
That's actually an easy answer though.
Yeah.
It's the human psyche.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it, so it feels like a sure thing.
Right.
And it feels safe.
Right.
But really, that's the time when you most likely probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Now is the time. Now, probably over the next, this is just my belief, now for the next at least 5 to 8 years, I believe is going to be one of the best times to buy real estate because not everybody, it's not going to be the hot thing.
Yeah.
And the rates are going to be not high, but they're not going to be amazing. And it's not going to be this amazing appreciation.
Yeah. So
we don't know. We'll have to see it play out, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something interesting if you really think about it. And for sellers out there, are you thinking, I'd rather just price it high and see if I can get it? Or would you rather price it low and sell quickly? You know, what strategy do you think works best?
I can hear a lot of people out there going strategy.
Yeah, you got to have a strategy.
You got to have a strategy. And there are different tactics to trying to get top dollar for your home, in case you weren't aware. And that's what we talk to our sellers about. Hey, okay, well, what's the goal here? And let me tell you the different strategies that we use to get you top dollar.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes money. Like we spent a good amount of money preparing our house to sell, but that all helps one, sell it quicker, sell it for closer to list price. You know, all of those things will help you at the end of the day, although it can feel scary and painful to spend the money up front getting your house into show ready condition. And we're not saying do anything crazy. You don't have to renovate your kitchen.
Yeah.
But,
you know, some people probably should.
Maybe.
But it's not the average.
Yeah.
But you can't walk in and have it smell or not be messy or not feel like a place I want to buy and move into.
Well, I think in a market like this that's just balanced and buyers have a lot of options, you're not the only one out there. It's important that you take a step back and walk through your home as a buyer. Like, because I think we all get used to the places we live in. We get used to the smells. We get used to the wobbly thing on the wall that we haven't fixed. You know, we start getting complacent to those things. But if you take a step back and say, okay, let me pretend like I'm seeing this house for the first time and walking in, and what do I smell? What do I see? What do I feel? Is it bright? Is it dark? You know, all of those things. And you walk your house really stepping back without the emotion of it's my house and I love it. That's a smart thing to do before you list, and that can help direct you on what you need to do to get it to show the best that
How many people can do that though? That's the
well,
problem.
That's a good question.
I think all of you struggle doing that. That's what I think.
Well,
I think it's
hard.
tough.
I think it's hard.
I think it's hard. I would have I mean, I think, oh, it looks great. And then I might've missed a couple things, or I'm just used to it. It's like when you're in a situation and you need somebody from outside to be like, hey,
I can see it more clearly.
Hey, you know,
but that's where a listing agent comes in. But it's a struggle because you don't want to go in and somebody's like, you're so mean. You're like saying, I thought my house was great. And you're telling me all these things I need to change. And it's not about that. It's about coming in from a perspective of, we show buyers every day and we get buyers feedback and what they're paying attention to when they're looking at a home. And if your home feels unkept and there's some maintenance items that have not been taken care of, no matter how much minor it could be, a buyer's going to wonder, how have they been maintaining the home? They want to buy from a seller that they feel like has taken good care of the property while they've been living there. And that makes them feel better about that home. Yeah. So it could be just a really minor thing that makes a buyer feel concerned. So it might go on to another property that might have actually more that comes up on an inspection report, but shows better, like it's been maintained. So just some things to think about. Just don't take it personally. You have to look at it from kind of a business perspective, get your strategy, take a step back emotionally, and then list the home. And I think that's important to do in a market like this where you do have competition.
I agree. Anything else that we need to go over to talk about? What else do we need to make sure that everybody knows?
Well, hopefully this helped y'all a little bit as far as a buyer and seller. But I think the biggest takeaway is just, we're not in a crash. We all need to realize that we were not in a normal market for a while. That's what we're comparing it to. We are back in a normal market. And so buyers, sellers, investors all need to take a look at their particular situation and talk to somebody that knows what's going on and get advice and make decisions. But
that's what I was going to say is, if you have questions about anything, go to our YouTube channel. And we do market updates with lots of data. That's why we're not dumping data on you now. We're just having more of a conversation. But if you go to our YouTube channel, which is Carolina Crafted Homes, Living in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the Harita team is really what the title is. We have all this information. But if you're interested in listing a home in Myrtle Beach, then call us. We have our email here at the bottom of the screen. It's on our YouTube channel, all of our contact info. You can call us. You can call Tiffany, you can call me, you can email us, go to our YouTube channel to get all of our info. You can go to carolinacraftedhomes.com. If you want to build, if you want to sell a home, if you want to buy a home, if you want to invest in Myrtle Beach, and if you have a short-term oceanfront property, then you need management, we do that. So we'll be glad to talk with you about any of this and answer any questions you have, because we would rather everybody just be informed, because that makes the market better for everybody. And so that's what we're about. I think that's really what it comes down to. But know the numbers, know the data. No matter what market you're in out there, it doesn't have to be Myrtle Beach. It's the same story everywhere. Know the numbers, know the data, local.
Yeah. And I would say, is it a good time to buy? Yes. Is it a good time to sell? Yes. Is it a good time to invest? Yes. If you're ready and if it makes sense for you.
And if you're prepared to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So, but the market's not saying anything different. It would be you personally. That's
Yeah.
not the one that's ready. It's not the market.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, call us for any advice. We're glad to be back here in town.
Thought we'd start off with some data about what's going on in the market.
Yeah, what do y'all want to hear next week? What do you want to talk about?
Let us know if there's something in particular that you want to hear us talk about. There is some stuff coming that we are going to be, maybe we'll talk about the new bill that probably will get passed. We'll see. Has to do with housing and what's going on in the market. And maybe we'll have some other stuff coming when they make a decision on some rates in a couple weeks too. So be some interesting topics coming. So, all right, everybody.
Y'all, have a great night.
Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys next time.